Good afternoon, and welcome in to another Titan Talk.
Hey,
What's this Queen wave?
I don't know. I'm just
that's the mood we're in today, is it?
Yeah, I was looking at myself on the. You want to know where my head actually went? I was looking at myself on the monitor, and I was like, I have octopi on my shirt today.
Octopi.
Yeah.
Is it octopi's plural of
I think
octopus?
that's
yeah,
plural.
that sounds right.
Yeah, and I was like, and I was waving, and I was like, I wonder what it'd be like to wave with 8 arms. That's actually the thought that was going through my head.
I'm so glad you elaborated.
Yeah.
Because that makes more.
That's
more
kind of
fun.
wild that you just sat there and like in this moment you were
my
like,
brain is.
imagine
just
if I had 8 arms.
a disastrous.
Imagine
place.
if I
So much
was
more blueprinting I could
Shiva.
get done.
Yeah.
Actually, I would need 8
Carly.
brains.
They have 3 hearts.
Yeah, right. I did hear about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Octopi.
Yeah.
Learned that one from Finding Dory.
Just keep swimming.
Interesting. Just keep
That's
swimming.
my motto. Is just keep swimming, basically.
We all, I think that's our motto here in the
That's the
studio,
Titan
to be
Force
honest.
motto.
Just keep swimming,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll get upstream. Welcome in, though, to Titan Talks. Slightly off subject there.
That's normal.
We're always
It's a
off.
normal
That's
intro
great.
for the day. It's a Friday too, and it's been a week. Obviously, Sylvanas came out this week, along with an update. Plus, the Aspect is already live
Yeah,
today
that's
in game. So make sure you try out Aspect. Give us some feedback, and any bugs that you find, please let us know, and we'll
Heck
try and
yeah.
get them fixed as soon as possible. Quick housekeeping notes: just some hotfix things that went out yesterday. Everything else, we had some updates yesterday earlier on and on Tuesday too, in terms of performance and things like that. But yesterday, later on and this morning, we fixed the issue with Aspect Chuck Rain, also dealing damage along with healing in non-Aspect.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a bug. But that one's been fixed already. We also had a look at the tower HP bars that people were reporting not showing correctly.
Oh, did we fix that one?
That has been fixed too.
Nice.
We think so.
We believe so. Prove us wrong. You know, I don't want
Don't
to.
prove us wrong, please.
That's just the way we go about this. And then finally, we did have a look at some performance improvements. I know there's a lot of complaints, just lately with this patch, that there may be some performance issues. We've sent out a fix to PC clients this morning. The consoles will get it a little bit later on today. However, if you start to see improvements, well, I guess if you see improvements, you're not going to let us know because that's how people are.
Is this the font stuff, or is that next update where you get the font stuff in?
I think that's font stuff potential. No, not font stuff.
No.
Font stuff next patch. This is just
Okay.
performance overall.
All right.
Some people were struggling with getting frames as much as they were before, so we've had a little look at that and made some adjustments there.
Yeah, the font stuff, very weird.
What's the fun stuff? Sorry, I don't think I've kept track of
So Jordan was looking into, like, my work PC in particular. I get a lot of stutters on.
Oh, yeah.
In particular, like. Particularly playing in dev, because when the dev version of the game is not like the fully compiled version,
Yeah,
it just
lot of
doesn't run
extra
as well normally.
Yeah.
So it does also reveal sometimes things that cause bigger issues. And what we found was that, like, basically the number of fonts and the sizes of fonts that we're using in the UI can cause the font atlas to need to rebuild itself mid-match, which causes yes, which causes like a big like stutter. So
That's crazy.
wild, yeah. So
We have too many fonts. You heard it here.
too many
first.
fonts, yeah. So Charlie's actually been going through
That's
and
wild.
changing everything to use one font and to not have 8 sizes of the
Amazing.
font. Like, so basically, instead of having
So
like
it's all Windings now.
yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, so just a one of the random things that we
that's super
found
interesting.
this
It's not
week.
something I
So
would've ever thought
I was
of.
curious if it was that, because I was like, oh, that's such a weird, neat little, find.
Yeah.
And
That's so
I think it also points to, like, video games are so damn complicated, right? Like, you'd be like, the performance is bad. It could be the font
It could be-
atlas
yeah, exactly.
rebuilding
Who would've
itself
thought of
dynamically.
that? Finding that is crazy.
Yeah.
Good catch. Good catch.
Anyway.
So we'll be here with ClumzyD today, mainly to go over some QA questions, answer questions from the community, probably having people complain about a bug that we may have already fixed, but we may not have fixed, and we'll get you to report those in too. Do want to talk real quick about, obviously, last time on Titan Talk, me and Kilgoon, I did mention we were looking at the notification system and report system, stuff like that. Obviously, there was a lot of people that people are starting to notice in game that some stuff is going out. As you can see here, this is an example of someone took a screenshot from Reddit, so I'm just going to steal it. This is some of the reports you will see in game of action being taken against players. It's not going to be super consistent of every... How do I word this? If you report a player in game, right, it's not going to get actioned immediately. Someone is actually going to review that account and then take action against it.
Yes.
So if you see that person later on in 2 games later, potentially, they may not have had action taken yet.
That's fair.
However, as time goes on, you should start to see these appear when action has actually been taken against players that you've reported. If you don't end up getting some of these sometimes, it may be because we prioritize on giving you negative ones if you're a naughty
you did
boy.
put it on there.
Okay?
That's so troll. This is the only reason why you put me on the show
Yeah,
today.
it was because I felt
Everyone's like, how did you bribe Clumsy? And I'm like, he asked nicely. It's for this moment.
I thought this was just a
Right here.
great example of some of the
this
stuff
is so messed up.
that may be seen
This is
in
literally
game.
yesterday. I think.
A couple of the streamers yesterday,
my
I
God.
did play with some of the streamers yesterday just to showcase it to them in a weird way and see how this interaction could potentially work. This isn't true. Obviously, Clumsy is not. Well, he is a feeder, but he's not getting constant reports for it. We all know. But this is some of the stuff that you will see coming into the game a little bit more regularly. It's not going to be a perfect science of like, well, I woke up today and I didn't see any notifications, so they did nothing.
Yeah.
That's not
the
case.
We do still have to kind of do a manual run
Correct.
to send these out. Like it's not fully automated yet, but we've taken some steps. And I think that like the point of this one is to let you know, like
It's more of a warning.
it's more of a warning.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you didn't do something that was worthy of getting banned, based on what we can tell so far.
Yeah.
But you're making other people unhappy in some way. Like, just think about it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And again, just for
Reassess
context, like
yourself.
if you feed in one game and 3 people in that one game report you, you're not going to see this message, okay? Like if you go on to feed in 3 games in a row and you're getting the same amount of reports, I'm not going to give you the exact science and the numbers behind how many reports it takes and stuff, but we do take a look at all the accounts that do get reported in and we do take action. For context, there's going to be people on Reddit, which I've already seen going, this is bullshit. It's not true. There's just no proof. You ain't getting the proof. Okay? I'm not going to expose exactly what happened to every single individual player to you. Hey, Sam was in your game yesterday. I don't know why I used the name Sam, but if you name Sam, this might be you. Sam was in game yesterday and he was feeding all my games. And then today I got an action that's been taken. You're not going to get an action been taken against Sam. That's not going to happen. Okay? Just isn't going to be the case. Just giving you all a heads up. But we are working to try and make sure you're aware that things are going on. And hopefully we continue to iterate and improve on the system as time goes on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this was a great moment for Clumsy because he did not know this was happening.
I
That was
had
the actual
no
reaction
idea.
stream,
And
so.
again, let it be known, Hindu is messing with me here. I'm not toxic. I fed in one
I
Kabragan
don't
game.
know.
That's
Just
it.
listen. If you see him in the games, report because action does get taken. And maybe we'll get a screen grab like that one
And
more time.
I think that's also part of like why we're doing this, right? Why
Yeah.
we're saying this out is to let people know that like we do take action.
Yeah.
Right. Like
That's the main
and,
goal.
and it's important that you feel like we are looking at it because we are looking at it. And hopefully that leads to you reporting things when you see people.
Yeah.
Because it is easier to report in Smite 2 than Smite 1. You can report somebody in the middle of a game.
Sure.
You can click on the, pull up the tab screen, click on the 3-dot thing. You can report somebody in game if they're being obnoxious.
Yeah.
And you don't need to remember to do it at the end of the game.
And that's still what it comes down to is that like there's a lot of times like Hindu said, you may see someone that's in your game the same day. That's
Yeah.
probably because it has an action. You
Yeah.
may see them the next week, but that's also because we need people to actually report.
Yeah,
Right.
and-
Like
and
that's just
If you see
please
them
do
the
it.
next week, it might mean that they were suspended for a few days.
Also
and they're
that
back.
too, yeah.
Like
There's a
it
lot.
doesn't mean that like the first time we ban somebody, unless it's something absolutely egregious.
Yeah.
It's rarely a perma ban. Usually it's like a take a couple days off and think about what you've done.
Correct, correct.
So it's like just because you see somebody again doesn't mean that they weren't punished. Just because you see somebody in your next game doesn't mean they're not going to be punished. Sometimes things just take a few minutes.
I remember your conversation. I'm not going to say with who, but it just stuck in my head. You're just like, someone reported someone directly to you, and
Yeah.
you just went in and you were like, you checked the receipts. Like, you've reported one singular person this year.
Yep.
Come on. Like, you can't just complain and not report.
There's a level to excuse me. There's a level to like sending reports in for us to action. You cannot complain as an individual if you don't send in reports
Yeah,
in to us.
exactly.
If I look at your account and you're going, you never ban anyone, and you
Reported.
sent one report over the 1,100 games you played, and expect me to take action on that one individual, how's action going to get taken?
Yeah, that's not how that works.
You got to help us out here.
If you see
gotta help us
something,
out.
say something.
But also, most of the time, the people that complain the most about toxicity are also just as toxic. And if
Yeah,
I get
I
those
did see
people,
you
I
say
check those people out too, where I'm like, oh, you're going to complain
That's
about
very
reports?
funny.
Hey, you've sent one report all year, and you've had 50 yourself.
Yep.
Maybe you should think about what you're doing. So,
So true. So true.
some people want it, but some people don't really want it when they find out behind the scenes. That's kind of enough about, the report system and stuff like that. Feel free to give us feedback. We do read it. I'm not going to respond to every single thing.
That's important.
But at the same time, like we are interested. We are passionate about this, and we are continue to iterate and make these systems better. Maybe one day we get that peacock as a. People have already requested like that emote is great. That peacock. I'm like, okay, we'll see. Maybe we get it as a badge or something like that. But I think it's good to stay where it is for now.
So This one person does have a question, which I will
go for
take. It says, why can't we report the same player twice? So you can't
In the
report
same
the
game?
same player
Yeah.
twice for the same game because there are weird, vindictive people who would just sit there and report the same player like 1,000 times and not move on with
that
their
would
life.
just be
like,
weird.
We want you to feel like report the player once, know that we're going to look at it, right? And if they did multiple things, like, because a lot of times it's like, well, this person was AFK, but they were intentionally feeding before that, you know, and then they DC'd after going 0-20, intentionally feeding or whatever, right? Like, pick the one you think is the worst, and then there's a place where you can add notes.
Yep.
And we will look at it.
We do read the notes.
We will take action on it, but it's not going to make us take more. It wouldn't make us take more action to report it 3 times or 4 times, right?
Writing a comment and explaining it does really help.
It does. It does. If you just put harassment in, it doesn't really explain to me. Like maybe you were told you were bad at the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not
And
gonna lie. If you get told you're bad, it's not nice. It's
Yeah.
not comfortable. But it's not something that we're going to ban somebody over unless they are consistently doing it in every single game and everybody's getting upset about it. Then we will take some action.
But if you write in that chat, like, they said a slur, and, like, you know,
Listen,
that wouldn't
listen.
make us be like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
now
We'll
we
take a look.
know the kind of harassment
we get
you're
to a
talking
level
about.
where like it's not just you saying bad words. If you're
Yeah,
saying
exactly,
slurs or
right.
homophobia,
And there's a difference between
I'll
that kind
nuke
of
you. Like
harassment.
I'm not gonna lie, the
Exactly.
support team is working on it all the time. But if I see you an account that's got racism or homophobia, your
You're
ban
gone.
escalates way quicker.
Yep, you're
way
done.
quicker.
Yep.
Also, additionally, on that note of just a report thing, when you do a report, it also attaches to the match you were in. So we can see on the back end the match where you reported, who you reported, why you reported, and also your account in part of the match. So we have more information to display. If you're
absolutely.
just reporting someone for being in the same room as you, like we are now, like in the lobby, that doesn't count. You know what I mean? It's hard for us to match that. Anyway.
Right.
Yep. So he says, this is one of the reasons I don't want chat on console. I don't want to see what PC is saying. I think there's pros and cons, right? I think the vast majority of our chat is not like toxic, right?
I personally would have chat removed and just VGS. VGS is probably one of the best systems for all the comms you really need
I
in the
know,
game.
I
I'm
know.
not going to lie, but I know we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
It'd make my life easier if I don't have to sit there and read those comments that come through. However, chat does get reviewed. Chat does get recorded. We can go into every single match and see the conversations that go on in chat.
Has anyone been banned because of a playtest from what the game, from the playtest from the company?
People get banned from certain gods for like just
Oh,
play
yeah,
styles
for
and stuff,
sure.
but it's not like, there's no toxicity.
We've had people
to that
self
one.
be like, you know what, I've been taking playtests too seriously. I'm going to step out for the next 1 or 2.
Yeah.
We've had that happen before. It
Or I'm
hasn't
going to
really
play a
happened
god
for
I'm not
while.
good at, you know. We did have one former employee who asked to be chat banned because he was like, I know myself.
Oh, in live, though.
In live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And he was like, because I know myself and I'm going to be horrible to people. And I don't want to do that in a game that I work
fair.
on. So that
Just
did
don't
happen.
chat. It's that simple.
Avoid as teammate button. The problem with stuff like that is then you start impacting matchmaking, right? As soon as you start doing that, then you do that to a few people, then we'd have to have a limit on it, and then it just starts breaking.
I mean,
It
Slay, if
gets
you wanted
hard.
that implemented, to be honest, you wouldn't have any games to play. Not being rude. I'm pretty sure you would also just not see.
The problem is just
your match amount go
the
down.
overlaying, like, so if player A says, I don't want to be match made with player B, and player C says, I don't want to be match made with player A, then none of the three of them can be in the same game, right?
Exactly.
And there's all these different layers that could like just make it impossible.
And it's also, to be honest, if you're going to do that sort of system too, you have the situation of ranked where, oh, these players are good. I'm going to say I want to get matchmade against them so I can get easier games.
Yep.
And then complain about matchmaking anyway.
Yep.
You know, like it goes around the
Absolutely.
circle.
It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I'm not gonna comment on matchmaking. I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to bring up matchmaking.
No,
but
I was gonna
just
talk
have
about
a knock on.
There was a thing, but I'm gonna wait to talk about it. With that said, is it Q&A time? Is there anything else we need to talk about? before
Yeah,
we
we're
go?
generally just taking Q&A. Unless there's anything
No,
you
we've been
want to
doing hot
table right now.
fixes every once in a
Yeah.
while. There's more coming out as usual. But
Obviously,
you're
we've
talking
got
about most of that.
Aspect came out today for
Yeah.
Celis, as we said. Next week, we'll talk about a couple about, I believe you said Monday, we'll kind of look at some of the new gods coming down the pipe, Alex.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, so the current plan is that we're going to do kind of a little bit of a roadmap on Monday.
Ooh,
and
that's exciting.
It's not going to I don't think it's going to have as much stuff on it as the last time we did one.
Okay.
Just because
How far have we gotten? Not trying to cause you to leak anything.
with the god that we play tested last time.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
we haven't gone beyond that. And we haven't really talked about what's changed about them other than the old.
Sure. Right.
So we're going to go through that on Monday. We're going to talk about other stuff that's coming in the updates that we feel confident enough to talk about. Like I said, it's not going to be quite as in-depth as last time, probably. But Hopefully it's exciting. Hopefully people are excited.
Yeah,
I think we're going to go through the end of the year and not talk about what's coming next year, just the next 3 episodes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because I think that's definitely too far. I can't tell you exactly what's coming in January yet. So hopefully that's it's an exciting show on Monday.
And then Wednesday it'll be Dargy discussion.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. And something else that I just heard that's going to be in there that I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that I think will be in this update.
And that's why today, Clumz, I brought you on because last time we were on Wednesday, we did a Q&A and a lot of people were asking some questions. And me and Kilgoom are kind of like, well, we can't really answer that. We should have a dev on. So here you are.
That's also, I think,
the hardest question.
We may have talked about it before, but like, every other week, there's always like the patch that's coming out. There's like the content to talk about. Then there's the patch itself with the new god. Then there's like the balance patch. And then every other week is, a little bit more of the Q&A session. Sometimes we get guests on board and stuff like that. So, it's almost purposeful in that sense and that there is a cadence to it.
This is an interesting question. I don't know if it's really one that we can answer definitively.
Ooh, okay.
But genuine question. At what point is me not helping someone as support against the rules? Sometimes ADC is feeding and blaming me for not holding their hand for 30 minutes. I mean, I think as a support main, Hindu has thoughts. I see his...
I'm just smirking to myself almost like, abandon them.
Yeah.
Abandon them and move about your day. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're playing support, and to be honest, this is most of your games, right? You get in a game, and whatever role you're playing, as you're doing your role, you're probably hitting tab, checking tab. I don't know what it is on console, I'm sorry. But you're opening the scoreboard, you're seeing what the KDs are, how people are doing, what items they're building. Then you'll watch them play a little bit, and you'll go, that guy doesn't seem as good as I would like him to be. Or, this guy's doing really well. So I might not go and help the person that's doing really well, but also I might abandon the person that's doing really bad to help someone that's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to try and play to the
Junglers do the
strengths of
same
the
kind
game.
of gimmick as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think also like at some point, if you stay in lane with your carry when the other support is roaming, like you're doubly hurting your team because like your carry's not getting as much gold, right? Yeah. And the other support is impacting the whole map, and you're just stuck there hand-holding. Like,
I've been in plenty of games where we've had a bad laning phase at the start of the game because we're in negative lane that's going to get pushed in, and then the carry's already tilted about it, blaming the support for it, and goes, don't come back to my lane. I'm like, you don't want me to come back to your lane? No problem.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Oh, what, you're 0-9 now? Well, you asked for it.
And then the other side of this coin really is just doing things that are not meta, right? And the expectations around that.
Sure.
Because like one could argue like, what is the support meta? Is it staying in lane? Is it leaving lane? But in a similar way, I've seen supports, go full damage, and it's like, okay, well, is that trolling or not?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's technically not. It's not trolling. Feel free to do whatever you want. Like I think that's the most exciting thing about MOBAs is the flexibility in doing things that are not meta. That being said, if you're going full damage and pretending you're a mage and diving their backline 1v5, which I'll be honest, those things tend to go hand in hand. Like whenever I see a full support go full damage, they tend to be like, you know what, that's probably I'm doing this because I didn't get soul lane or I didn't get mage, and they're doing it to almost be this more of a troll. Then that's something that's a little bit more offensive. That's a little bit more almost reportable for being intentional feeding.
And we talk about
but non-meta things are exciting.
There's a lot of talk about supports just there because support is the role that kind of ends up going, where am I supposed to be a lot of the time. However, solo laners, junglers all have these sort of ideas too. There's plenty of solo laners that I've seen in game where it's 2 minutes in the game, they've been pushed in wave 1, and then they're upset that they've not had ganks yet.
Sure.
And I'm like, listen, if you understood how the jungler plays, then you could understand that they can't be there at the 2 minute mark to hold your hand. You chose a solo lane, and then I'm going to get responses of like, but I didn't choose solo lane. I got put in this role.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, play defensive, expect to be in the negative matchup. You don't have to win every lane, Yeah. There's a lot of things. I just randomly looked down and it says, do you think Achilles is viable as a support? Yeah, he's got a CC, he's got mobility, he's got
I
an
think he
execute.
definitely can.
He's viable.
He has been in Smite 1 before.
I think there's plenty of supports that are viable that people just don't realize. But when we say viable, let's take into account that there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of differences in every single god. And so if you're going to pick a backline mage as a support, but you have no frontline tanks whatsoever and low CC, your team's going to probably struggle, and the team will look at you and go, hey, you didn't really do your job. But then you'll go, well, you didn't do your job because you didn't go tank either.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it just becomes a cluster, of everybody just having their personal opinion. So...
Elphase, and I'm always going to call that one out. I remember when I first playing Smite when I was a solo laner, and it was mages with Hog. solo lane, and that's what I was trying to get at. Lanes as a whole, they can be whatever things want to be. Like that's the whole point. The meta is when warriors and tanky characters in solo lane, but that doesn't always happen. I would love for people to try new. I loved when we saw like assassins in mid. I thought that was super interesting, and I'm a mid laner. I go, I'm not really even good at assassins, but when I see people doing it, when I see Paul like playing Pele in mid, or like Kiki back in the day going Arachne and stuff, I'm like, damn, this is terrifying, but it's just super cool and super interesting. Like, what can people do? That's what keeps these games evergreen.
We also get into that world of like what actually is the meta, because the meta is ever evolving.
Absolutely.
Every single patch, an item goes up in damage, an item goes down in damage. Dagger of Frenzy, for example, at the moment, everyone's like, oh my god, you got to build that in jungle, because without that, you're not going to do anything. But now it's the most OP item because it got a buff.
Now go Dagger
However,
Frenzy arrow
now your build changes, and then it's always going to be evolving. So sometimes if you get in these mages, let's just say like squishy mages that are kind of in there a little bit more, right? You're going to see more assassins appear all of a sudden, because those assassins counter mages.
Sure, exactly.
When you saw Raw solo lane back in the day, the counter pick to Raw solo was Anubis. You know why? Because Anubis shits all over Raw. It's just how it works out of like gods are good against different gods. And that will always change and always evolve.
Totally.
We got really into meta stuff for a second.
Yeah, you did. I lost track of chat.
Lunchbox, I haven't looked directly into Serb passive yet, but that's, there's just a whole bunch of stuff. I know
was the question?
you're interested in just in general, like Serb's balance and Serb's
Okay,
passive. How is he doing? For every person that wants us to look into one thing, someone else wants another thing, and we got to keep that on the list, the ever-growing list. Oh yeah, I was just using that as an example of support, because that happened in my game like a few days ago, and I could link the fact that they went full damage to the fact that they were actually trolling in that game a little bit. But more so, the topic was just doing things that are not meta as a whole, and that was just an example.
Have we looked at adding the Juggernaut objective with consumable that could release a singular strong minion rather than having all 3 Nagas from the Moonlight Ritual?
Oh,
the siege minion from Smite 1 is sitting idle. I do like the idea. Like, a lot of people love that Juggernaut minion, like, that appeared back in those matches, and I do like the style of it. But
it's also not that easy to just be like, you have a thing in Smite 1, put it into Smite 2, and it'll just work. Like, it's unfortunately not as simple.
It's like trebuchets and Nagas, everything else we've had, right?
It was an asset that was actually being already utilized in Smite 2. That being said, those are things we always want to keep in mind. But just as a note, because it's always interesting to talk about like the tech side, adding new models and stuff like that, and depending on the type of models they are, could be a performance overhead cost. It's something we have to be very cognizant of every time we do things like that.
But in terms of a balance point and like potential, we're not saying there's no potential for that maybe just in the future, or things coming back and happening.
We're super new into the Moonlight Ritual feature. We can always see what we want to do.
Yeah, how's feedback been on that? Do you know?
I think people have been generally pretty positive about the Moonlight Ritual feature. There's definitely a little bit of like, every once in a while the game gets a little bit too chaotic, but it's also, that was part of the goal. The part of the goal is we knew, we weren't going to, recreate the Conquest map right now at this moment. So what can we do that'll shake things up a little bit? What can we do to try to change the pace of Conquest in a way that kind of hits that middle ground of like, it's going to do a change, but it's not going to force it's not turning Conquest to a completely different game mode.
It's funny because I guess when we mentioned about the Moonlight phase coming just before that, everybody was like, man, it just seems kind of stale, and now it's like, but now it's too chaotic, and it's like, well, it's just finding those middle grounds all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a good objective. I think that like there's, maybe there's some stuff that you talk about, like the pacing of when the control point opens and how much it's worth, right? And I think that like in general, it seems like in live, people are prioritizing the pickups less than we did in our internal testing, and we because generally speaking, by the time the control point opens, usually one team has quite a few shards on the way there, right? In our testing, but a lot of times in live, like people are somewhat ignoring them and not.
Yeah, they're farming to the last moment.
Yeah, and so they aren't like necessarily entering that phase with an advantage the way that we've seen in some of our testing. So
that being said, because of testing, I do it every single time. Like as soon as those shards are, if I'm rotating them, you're still getting XP. You're getting a little bit of a heal. Like it's super useful. But that's part of it is still people learning. Not necessarily what the new meta is of the ritual, but just like realizing it exists and whether or not they want to participate or not. So there's definitely things we want to play around with and iterate on. But overall, I think it's been a pretty positive feature. It's no soul surges.
Did they say that they were removing Naga Boss from the jungle camp when adding the Moonlight phase? I realized it was missing and didn't think I heard anything. Yeah, it did get removed alongside this phase. We didn't do a great job of communicating that. It was kind of a missed off of the update note, but we did correct that. And yeah, it didn't make sense to also have the jungle boss that was going to spawn things as well as also do this too. Yeah. So, you know, we adjust things. Some things come in, some things come out.
Hunbot's AO2 tracker has been broken since it's changed. That's just a good thing for us to keep a note about. I love Tiamat. Me too, Jax.
It's a question of like, could Arena and Joust get something to trigger items that have Moonlight bonuses? I think that we definitely could, you know, bring some just the Moonlight phase to the other maps if we decided it made sense. I think that it hasn't been around that long in Conquest. We're experimenting with a lot of other stuff right now. Not currently the top thing on our priority. We also weren't sure like if Moonlight was going to stay around forever and how people react.
We definitely wanted to hear from what people felt about it before. You know, we just tripled on all the effort and put it everywhere because it is a substantial amount of work. Even if we did want to add that to one other game mode, that is not like honestly a 2-week patch cycle thing. That is a month or plus worth of work.
And we're not saying that's not off the table. I think the one thing that a lot of the community seem to do is like expect our speed to be instant of like, wait, work there, it looks great. Let's do it here too. Why is it not in there yet? And
there's definitely some things that we work on quickly because we can work quickly. There's other things that do just need to take time. And sometimes
when we do put some things in the game, it still needs further polish as well. And I think we always experience that, you know?
Oh, actually, Remilia, I did want to see that. Yeah, a targeter for Hunbots for the takeoff damage because it is new, and I also forget about that sometimes. So that would be nice.
I will just read out what Ollie said because he got timed out by a bot twice. Hindu may not like chat, but I actually believe players lose their head easier when it feels like they can't do anything to direct the state of the game, or it doesn't feel like they're playing with real players. I feel like not having chat on console genuinely contributes to levers, as players just give up. Even on PC, players are discouraged from typing if it won't be read. To be clear, I do get frustrated with chat because I also deal with the report side sometimes too and see the stuff that people message to each other. It's not productive. And I will say a lot of people use a lot of shorthand text as well of like just saying you're bad. Rather than, hey, why don't you build some penetration because you're dying to the tanks all the time? Why don't you get chins? But the way people word things is always shorthand too and comes across offensive. And people's natural reaction is also to be offended that you're attacking them. Yeah. However, I do agree with what Ollie's saying there of like, yeah, you do want to have that sort of ability to interact with your teammates, make sure they're not bots, and most of the time you'll say you're a bot to start that conversation. But yeah, it does have knock-on effects in multiple ways. So I do understand the benefits of chat. Let's be real though, we all play the game enough to know that's not how chat gets used all the time. Okay? And I'm not saying we shouldn't put chat in the game. I can have a personal take on something. But at the same time, there's reasons for chat to be there. There's reasons. I'd rather just see VGS develop more to go, buy pen, you know? Something like that. Buy pen, build health, build a defense item, you know, stuff like that. That's my personal take. But I do agree with where you're coming from there, Ollie.
Did ClumzyD reveal we're doing all chat? We are not doing that. Yeah. We're doing proximity chat instead. Ugh. I mean, I know the flair right now, and I've been playing it as well. Arc Raiders and their proximity chat has been very funny, but it has also caused a lot of toxic moments too. So, you know, and that's a very different type of game. But it's always funny. I don't actually have an answer for your Lunchbox and the Arizal thing. I need to look into it and see what the issues are, if there are. I know Magi's isn't 100% consistent on everything it needs to be consistent on too.
Is there another bigger item pass planned for the year? You don't have to specifically say what exactly.
We do have item thoughts coming up. I don't think we want to talk about them just yet. Yeah. But we are working on another small pass on specific types of items. Actually, honestly, regardless of whether that pass is going to happen next patch, there's a lot coming in next patch as a whole, as there always is. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was smiling about something else. I was just interested. Someone in my proximity chat with Heimdall would be funny. And I can just hear someone going, ah! As they're flying around the world. Yeah. Just got me.
That's funny.
Proximity chat would increase the overall fun of the game by a huge margin. Okay, saw it. There's a reason why there's troll in your name as well.
Yes.
You guys should do big holes in arena again. Yeah, I mean, so I think we did that as like a featured game mode. Just, you know, again, we can put some effort into doing that. That would take a little bit more time, but then we'd be taking away from all the conquest changes that we still, need to play around with. It's not a bad idea. I mean, I think playing around with arenas some more is probably a good thing, but.
Should we put holes in conquest?
I've suggested that before.
That would be funny.
That makes the plot so much more. Just pushing people into holes all day. Yeah.
We'd have to figure out where exactly we'd want to do. Instead of doing a river, we just have like a rift that just turns, opens up.
There were some.
Speaking of Sot, I did remember him like dying to the walls in a clip recently. Like, and now if we have holes, we could just push Sot into holes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I do think that was one of the fun bits of Paladins had like some kill volumes in the middle of some of the maps where it's like certain alts you could use to like knock people out of the world or into the. There was like a fidget spinner,
that's right.
Thing
I remember that. Yeah,
I think it was fun. I don't know if it's necessarily a competitive conquest thing, but it was fun in Paladins and in Smite with the arena.
Fire Giant creates holes in the floor. Dynamic holes would be a bit tough, but theoretically you could have pre-placed ones and he attacks those areas or something like that. Kabrakan's aspect one has a very quiet noise. We fixed that. We actually did special sounds to that too. So I wonder if there's a bug or maybe it's based on a skin. That might make things a little bit more complicated. Will the next playtest have the god after Daji? So there'd be like PTS on Wednesday. Would we have a god that we may or may not have talked about?
Maybe.
Yeah. We honestly, like when it came to Daji, we sometimes we do or don't do those gods just based on how they're working on that that day.
That day. Yeah.
It
right?
is
Like
to the day.
If there's a build that just breaks that character, we go like, you know what, we just don't want to turn them on.
Yeah.
They're gonna just complain about something that we already have fixed.
It's funny when Sylvanas was in the PTS test for the god before him. I can't remember who it was, but people were like, "Oh man, this is not working right at all." I'm like, "We did warn you." Like it's kind of it shows that there's a development process of things like protections. It's funny because on the PTS on that cycle, we had no protections on the heal from him. It's because we did a playtest earlier on before that went out where he was getting double protections and it was in the process of getting fixed. So these things do happen where we may see it, we may not.
When it comes to the prism system, is there a reason why we aren't seeing prisms utilized for default skins? Anubis had a random recolor for a long time. Bari and Sylvanas just had one, and everybody has mastery skins. It's silly seeing Sylvanas with 6 skins from the start. I would say in large part it's because there's a few things. One of them is that the way that prisms work, we've kind of established that prisms are diamond only, and we don't want to break that rule by giving other ways to acquire them. So if we want to make those other like recolor skins and whatnot available in other ways, then they could not be prisms. Another one is the way that we release, the way that we give away, basically the way that the prisms work. If you have the prism, you get the default skin automatically because of some back-end stuff. But that doesn't really work with gods. So it just the system just doesn't work with. It's like if I don't have Sylvanas unlocked, but I get the Sylvanas recolor skin, and it was a prism, then our game does not know how to handle that situation. Because of how prisms are configured. So those are kind of the two main reasons. There's some other ones, but. Can we nerf Sunder? This was one of the questions from yesterday or Wednesday, whenever we did this before. Sunder is just like a continued point of conversation.
There is a discussion Pon and I are having on Sunder, and we may go ahead and just do it. In fact, is it in his? I think he is. Pon, did you reply to my Slack message? You probably did, because he was in chat.
Oh, he was in chat. Okay, I thought you were just like, wait, have you got him?
No.
Somehow?
Yeah, exactly. If I just say his world, it's like the bats. Name is like the bat signal. He just gets it. He gets a ringer. We are discussing options about it. That is all I can say at the moment.
It's reasonable. What about?
You were generally okay with it. I did not reply.
Generally
okay.
We'll talk about what I'm back at the desk.
Yeah. Similarly, what are our thoughts on the current state of CC buffering?
We're also discussing options with that right now.
Yeah.
That we can't talk about.
I think we're at the point in a cycle right now where I know the devs are discussing a lot of things to do with community feedback regarding CC buffering, regarding
unless you wanted to talk about
matters.
No, I mean, I don't know. My personal take is that It made a lot of sense as a system when it was very consistent and when like there weren't a million exceptions to it. And now it feels like there's enough exceptions to it that it doesn't feel like a consistent system. And it's more surprising when it happens versus it feeling organic. Whereas I think that like the very first version of it we had did feel kind of organic. It was very different from the Smite 1 flow. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
I think it worked like leaps and stuff as well. And
so
it was stronger effectively.
It was. And I think that like it's harder to understand in this current iteration and has less upside. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, we're committed to doing one thing or another with it, but I think it's just like it's in this place where it's kind of in between. It's like a half a system now because people didn't like the other half, but then the half that's left is like kind of awkward by itself.
What's interesting?
I'm looking. We just sat inside. Sorry, chat.
I'm going to read this one out loud. I don't have an answer for it yet. With the exception of Giannis, it seems the past few mid-lane intended mages have been better performed in the support role. Is that something seen internally? Does that possibly affect which mages to port over the future? I don't think that really affects what mages are going to be ported over in the future. I mean, what other mages have we done?
Yeah, that you're referring to.
Giannis. Iset obviously was the newest one. She's performing well just in general everywhere. And obviously she's got the aspect, which helps in the support role. I don't remember if Scylla was afterwards or not, but there's a similar situation there. Where Scylla's probably a little bit weak, except for the aspect, which performed better in the support role. Those two are unique circumstances where they had aspects that did pivot them into the support role. Iset I still think is just generally strong overall. And from everything that I'm hearing there's still a little bit of a disconnect in whether mages as a whole are just strong or weak. And I think a lot of people still say that they're quite strong. Polynomicon potentially being a concern. That being said, Polynomicon stats right now are extremely middling for those who are wondering. Yeah. But that's also because it's not the easiest thing to pull off.
I think part of the
unless you're the 1%.
The conversation of some of these mages that are good in the support role is because we've also been applying aspects which give them supportive options too. Absolutely. Like saying we're just seeing so many of them there doesn't necessarily mean that's always going to be the case.
A little bit of Lifebinder as well. I know that we're planning on adjusting.
I expect that with some of the mages end up hitting there, you might also see aspects that are non-support ones too that come through for some of these mages.
Okay, so this is my.
Oh, interesting.
I have data.
Is this the mini game?
No, okay. We're just gonna do one in particular. We can play other stuff if you want to. But
good work day.
Of God plus role combinations with more than 1,000 matches played, so some level of consistency, right? What would you guess had the highest win rate for the week? I think from like Wednesday to Wednesday. So just the very beginning of this most recent patch.
Okay.
Well, I know ESET was up there.
ESET
support. I think in like all four versions of ESET. I think.
So ESET support was number 1.
Yeah.
And ESET mid was number 4.
Yep.
Of all God role combinations across the game. So ESET is the best mid.
Potent.
And the best support, or at least was until this patch. This patch made some changes. So
2 on your team.
Yeah. And that
Yorm is not on the list.
That is both ranked and normal conquest. That's not just like, that's not just like, the bad people in casual conquest, it is everywhere. So that is a data point for you to reference.
How much is streamer bias influencing pick ban?
Well, so a lot in terms of perception, but not a lot in terms of actual stats, right? Like, just because streamers or Smite Prime do things does not mean that's going to be reflective of stats. Just using Polynomicon and as Flair saying Yorm, I hear a lot of talks for both of those being like, hey, nerf the... It's going to be, a bit of an expletive there. Nerf these a lot. But when you look at the stats, for even at high level ranked all the way down to casuals, it's just average. That being said, the perception of these in social media, as we talk about all the time, a lot of you guys who are here in Titan Talk are people who are way more invested than even.
I would class most of you in here as more hardcore than the average player.
Yes.
some of you will get an ego off that, don't. But yeah, I will say you're more of the hardcore player. Whether you've got a skill level to back it up is a different story, but you do care more about the game because you're passionately listening to 3 people sit around a table and just discuss the game in more detail and get feedback. But yeah, there is the average person that, let's be real, people will watch a stream in the background and stuff and see these are the same bands at a certain level.
I'm hardcore. Yeah. You guys are veterans for sure.
Yeah.
You guys are invested.
And even if you're new, you're like,
Yeah, it's always the ones where I see them say stuff like that. I'm like, oh, Rushology. I know that person. You know what I mean? I know a lot of these names in chat. So,
what do you guys say to people who think numbers don't matter? So that as soon as I
What do you mean by
read
numbers
that,
don't matter?
I'm assuming it means like statistics, right? Because
Okay,
we've talked about that a lot, and I've had commentary. I've had people come to my stream and go like, all you guys say is like X. You did X reason because of stats, Y reason because of stats.
Yeah.
But that's because we can't just balance the game based off of certain demographics. If we just did balancing based off SMITE Prime, if we just did balancing based off the 1% of ranked, we wouldn't be making the best game that we can. We would be catering to the smallest slices of the pie, and that's something we always have to be concerned about. It's something that we already do balance towards, and we see that feedback loop constantly. Like I talked about this last week, I think, when we had people say, hey, why don't you cater towards like the higher echelons? And then at the exact same moment be like, what do you mean? They only cater to the higher echelons and they never cater to us. And then we have the other side of people, but they also never cater towards like the arena and the casual game. It's like, guys, we're trying to hit as much of the pie as possible. And are there things that we can do better? Sure, but we have to be very cognizant of the fact that this isn't just a most extremely hardcore game. Smite is, what it is, and it's for everyone. That's the goal.
We're not always going to be 100% right either, okay? We admit we
I
are
don't know
going
what
to...
you're
We are going to... Shut up. Let's bring that up again. What was it?
It's a joke. What do you mean? You're not
I got proof right here. Something happened, okay? Look at this.
That's what you said.
Okay.
That was you trolling me.
I will say as well, though, one thing, when we got the hardcore people in charge at this point, what do you all believe the point of balance is? What is the percentage that is balanced for a god? Out of interest, real quick, while we have people. Because that one, to me, is a telltale sign, too. Because I have a feeling it's going to go a certain way.
We were talking about this, actually, in the stream yesterday, too. A live service game as well, even if one that is inherently theoretically more competitive, being a MOBA, also shouldn't be perfectly balanced. Yeah. You need games like this to continuously change the balance, change the meta. Things need to consistently have a momentum to them, have people trying different things.
So 55%, 49%, 53%, 52%, 48 to 52%, 50-ish, 50-ish. So around
already,
50.
But even with that, right, you can see the different opinions already in chat.
Correct.
So.
And here's the thing, if someone has a 55% win ratio, and if every god is at 55% win ratio, something's wrong in the game because there's not people losing enough. Do we just give everyone a win at the end of a game? Would that help? I don't think it would.
Everyone gets a participation trophy.
But I do agree with like where chat's going though, and I don't know the exact data that we always go off here, Clums, but like in terms of like the win percentages, we are probably looking around that 45 to 55% ratio.
But it also changes so often based on how often we're balancing.
An item change.
And also, let's say a god comes out that has a silence that might immediately make someone else that has like channeling abilities weaker. But they might not actually be a weaker god. They might just be weaker for that 1 week time period when people are playing that god that is better against it for a little bit. If you just wait actually like a little bit of time, that might already shake out as people start learning the god, changing their picks. Like metas and the balance of characters can change without anything else changing, just with a little bit of time too.
Yeah. Correct. There was a question a little while ago. Can you tell us the top 3 for solo lane? I still feel like there is a mage solo problem, but that could just be my bias. So I looked it up. This is from Wednesday to Wednesday, so not much of the current patch, right? So things could have changed a little bit more with the current patch. But the top 3 solo laners in terms of win rate that had more than 1,000 matches played in that time span. So not like niche picks. Do you have guesses?
No, I'm going to say
top 3 solos.
Top 3 solos. Bologna was number 2.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So that's not a mage.
That's probably one of the
I've heard people say that.
Bologna. What else we got in here?
Mulan was up there.
Mulan was number 3.
I wanted Mulan to be there so that Elphazan, who may or may not be in chat, can hear that.
Oh, they're in chat and they deserve nerfs.
That's right.
Always complain about that god being underpowered and then OP. And someone said Osiris number 1.
Not Osiris, actually, surprisingly.
Learn your stats, chat.
Hardcore
players.
Osiris is quite good. Osiris is quite good.
Okay.
Number 1 in this data set, was Anubis.
Right.
So, and Anubis has historically seen success in the solo lane. It's not, So there is, again, like Anubis does have a lower match count in solo lane than the other gods, so it can be more heavily weighted by a god who, like if somebody played 500 games of Anubis solo and won a lot of them because they're really good at it, like that can skew.
But you
the
said that was
numbers,
already 1K plus.
There's a 1K plus games, so people aren't gonna play.
It's not a small amount.
So those were the top 3 solo laners in that time period, right? So that is one mage, but 2 warriors. So I think that, like, to me, that's kind of a healthy mix, right? Like I think that, like, warriors need to do well in solo, right? Like I don't think that, like, in my opinion,
warriors need to do well as every role theoretically needs to do well.
Yeah. So
I mean, when we talk about data too, let's take into account literally what Kilgun just discussed there, the top 3 most winning in solo or whatever. Okay, that was the stat.
That was the, last.
We're saying Anubis is number 1, right? But realistically, I'm not going to ask for the data because I know this for a fact. But probably Anubis solo isn't getting played as much as people are seeing. However, the kids that are playing the solo Anubis and doing well
know what they're doing.
They are inflating the stat of like, well, it's always winning because not many people are playing it. Not as many people are playing below it.
There's maybe a 5th to an 8th as many games on Anubis solo versus the other ones, right? So it's not as popular.
This data the team looks at, right? And they do factor in.
Yeah.
It's just that it's hard to showcase. We're not going to go through. So this patch.
I'm not going to.
In this patch, Anubis was winning 59% in solo lane, so we have nerfed him. However, there was only 2 people playing that god, and so those 2 people can get screwed. But that's not how it's going to work, right?
Going back to the meta conversation, because maybe I'm living in this idealistic world, but I think there's still I would love to see people go, mages in solo lane isn't an issue as long as warriors are being played elsewhere as well to an equivalent amount, and and winning at a certain degree too.
I have one more fun data thing. You did this yesterday.
Okay.
So the most damage, again with the restrictions of it.
This was easy, chat.
This is pretty easy. Most and least average damage in a game right now.
All right. Yeah, I mean, last time we talked about Nuwa being basically around the top.
Nuwa is the top.
Vulcan was near there as well.
By the way, nerf Nuwa supposedly is still top.
Well, this was like most of it pre-nerf, right? Because it was, it was a day and a half of post-nerf.
It's a global ult that hits
remembers.
everyone pressing for. No skill.
And who was the lowest?
It was Khepri.
It was Khepri. Yeah. So it's kind of obvious, but I just thought it was fun.
No,
Cuckoo at the bottom, that's wrong. No. Cuckoo top, sorry.
No, Cuckoo top, yeah. That's a good guess. Buff Khepri.
Conversations about Tahuti are still going on.
And that's one of the things that's interesting is that, like, not every god is a damage god, right?
Absolutely.
Like, Khepri brings a resurrect to his team, which is insanely powerful, right? Yeah. And it's like every god kind of has like a power budget, right? Where it's like they do things that help their team, and it can't all just be damage, right? Mm-hmm. It can be other things, but if they have the other things that are really strong, the damage has to be lower. So.
And also, let's say Khepri had more damage. There would just be a new bottom god. There literally always has to be a bottom god. Yeah. Like, you have to see with the bottom percentile, right? And it's just then it's a whole different.
Papa just said in chat we should balance by cast frequency. If you cast too many abilities,
no, they're just nerfing Merlin. No.
All dead. Merlin dead. The future is here. Low cooldowns. You're buying Chronos Pendant. You're getting nerfed.
Your damage gets lower based on your CDR going up. Someone had an interesting.
How hard would it be to bring Fire Giant Arena to SMITE 2?
I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be easy, but I remember that one was like contested whether people liked it or not. It broke up the flow of Arena quite a bit. I thought it was really interesting just because of change. Yeah.
I really like the rocks. I thought the rocks were cool.
The ones that you could like punt at people.
Yeah, that was fun. A lot. But yeah, it was kind of mixed in terms of like, did people actually like it better than base Arena?
So Vafi was talking about this one. I actually don't know. What is the Smite Prime Vault Band system? Whenever I watch, I'm usually just
is it the same as the, like, once a character is picked, you can't be used
pretty much, yeah. But basically, it's just different systems of seeing further play styles of, like, if you pick someone in an aspect, you can't pick it in an aspect again. Within a set.
It was like when we were doing the Bobby tournaments, like, you could only
pretty much
ban one thing.
Like,
I love that stuff.
The competitive system is always going to continue to evolve and change, and different, like, communities are going to have different rules and mindsets of how things go. Just like other MOBAs and, like, any competitive game ever. But how I personally think it's good to see more flexibility and variety in the games.
Yeah.
However, I also know League of Legends with the Fearless Draft system and stuff that they've been using lately. There's been a lot of feedback from them of people now upset that they have to see all these different characters.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, they might have won if they didn't have to pick these different characters. I just like seeing a team have to deal with this one god on cooldown and learn to beat it. And there's always a conversation.
They actually announced today that they're using Fearless again, like next year.
I think
Fearless
Fearless is super exciting.
It is.
I think it's really fun.
It brings more variety, for sure.
Yeah, there's more variety for people to be watching, and also it just makes people need to learn other gods and be more flexible. And I think that is the most exciting thing.
Shows depth, shows thought process and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
There's a lot that goes into those sort of things. And with the community side, we give them advice on the community tournaments and stuff like that. We're not always going to be an overseeing yet. I will give advice of don't do that. It's not worth it, or it's going to cause you more trauma than it's worth. But I like to give feedback, but I also make sure that we try and do some exciting different things.
This was like a community thing, or like it wasn't done officially, but Dota had this community tournament called I think it was like Midas mode or something, and the idea was that teams were given X amount of money, fake currency,
right. So it's like a point system,
and they'd be like, okay, I want to ban this god or pick this god, and it costs that much money, and then First Blood, they'd like gain 10, winning a game they'd gain a little bit. So like things in the game or out of the game would like make them gain or lose money, but then like if you want to pick the best god in the game, that would cost some money.
It sounds great until you like explain to an average viewer of like, okay, welcome in.
No, it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah,
the flexibility, just the idea of it as a casual community thing was super interesting.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on enhanced fire giants and gold primal Oni Furies?
I think we were talking about enhanced fire giant potentially coming back. Gold primal and Oni Furies is a little bit more complicated because then we need to like look at their models and see if we can port those over. I don't think we have anything like that currently for the the Gold Furies. Theoretically, we could maybe do material treatments and just cheat our way there a little bit, because I'm assuming the idea is more so on the gameplay of it than the aesthetics of it. In which case, there was some values. I know there's been a lot of discussion talking about the Smite 1 map versus Smite 2 map, or just Smite 2 map and where it can go from there. There's lessons to be learned about the positives about the Smite 1 map. There's always the excitement of seeing where we can go next. Are we the most happy about the current Gold Fury system and its rewards? Not necessarily. It's there. It's existing. It's different. Could we go further with it? Yeah, probably. Could we go backwards? Also, that'd be the safe thing to do. So we just have to assess when is the right decision to kind of push the boundaries, when it's completely okay to kind of go backwards and just do something that we've done before, which is also totally fine. And just really just discerning between those two.
I haven't heard this one. I don't know if ever on Titan Talk, or at least in a long time. What are your thoughts on bastions? And do you think they would be healthy for the game? So for those of you who didn't play a lot of Smite 1, I think in Season 10, maybe Season 9, we added like these little things, deployables at the edge of the tower range. And you could destroy them for extra gold, or you could also kind of like hide behind them to clear more safely.
And it protects your tower more as well, was the other thing. But also give you gold to stay overextended and be able to... There's a lot of benefits and negatives to it. But
I mean, they were intriguing. They were interesting. I liked them for the time. We have obviously the tower bounty system in Smite 2 that, that does have a little bit of it. But again, it's one of those things like, now that we've played a year and a bit of Smite 2, it could be interesting just because it's change for the sake of change.
Yeah.
But is it necessarily a better system? I'm unsure about. And then we also had people complaining, it's like, okay, well, when you can target with abilities, Zeus's and Naja's and the bouncing characters, like there's always going to be the trade-off. Personally, I think it was cool, but I'm always curious to see where we can go next. We actually had that other system, remember, with towers that we're playing around with that we could always, work on again.
Yeah. Will the Conquest map get snowy for winter? No, we aren't going to do a snowy map yet. We're continuing to work just on like the core Conquest map, feeling good and playing well, and stuff that's seasonal that is just going to be, thrown away is not kind of where we're focusing right now. Future years, definitely something that's possible. I think it's easier to achieve that in UE5 than, in UE3. Like there's a lot of things that we can do to bring that in, but it's just not for this year. We are gonna have more stuff to share about Conquest, but not related to seasonality right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have smoother swapping between curios in the shop? This was something we were going to go back to, but I don't think we ever did.
It's just another one of those things to add onto the UI programming list. That's just like, the list that ever grows.
Yeah, we should mention that to Charlie and see if that's a hard thing.
Also, there's another one of those things. Like, let's see if people enjoy the system before we double down on it too.
Did we regret making so many maps in Smite 1 during Season 10?
During season 10.
Yeah, because season 10 we had the seasonal map updates. Remember we did like 4
Oh,
maps
yeah,
in a
okay.
year, right? So
did we change the map as
so
well?
it did get like rethemed. And
Oh,
then
it
there,
did,
yeah.
right.
So it was I would say,
Dear Lord, that was a lot.
It was an undertaking, is the word.
yeah, it was more work than we got out of it
That-
in
that's for
terms
sure.
of value.
Yeah.
The hope was that people would be excited by these Comic Quest changes and they would come back for that, and it could kind of work like a mini season, or like historically patches where we released a new god did pretty well in SMITE 1, and other patches didn't do very well because there wasn't anything exciting. So we were trying to make those other patches a little bit more exciting. And I would say that, like, given the cost to do it, it didn't really lead to the same kind of engagement as we had hoped for.
Yeah.
I thought that it was neat and it let us experiment with a lot of things, but it was just a big undertaking for the level of return, you know?
Yeah.
Star Jumper, you've asked that question a couple of times, but if you go back earlier in this video, you can find us answering that exact question.
Thoughts on adding back permanent CD from Totem? Not super stoked on it. Honestly, I think even the Fire Imp nuggets or something we have to be careful of. It's really scary putting just permanent stats on people, and like it's just invisible. No one really knows whether you have it or not. No one knows how strong you are because of it. They can certain times give you like items worth of stats, even if it's just tier 2s. It's not the most engaging system. It's almost more for like a hero shooter or something like that. You know, there's comparisons between Deadlock, but you know, MOBAs still need MOBA system, and this just being an invisible level of power really is what it comes down to.
Yes, sometimes after a playtest, people will be like, yeah, I think that the god that you were playing was really strong, and it'd be like, well, I had 30 rocks.
Yeah,
so
exactly. No one was competing over the rocks.
I just got every rock for the entire game on cooldown, and I had an extra item for free. And and then once I say that, people are like, oh, okay, so maybe like the character wasn't OP. It was just you know the way that the game flowed. I mean, but that wasn't visible to good people in the game.
No one actually knows.
There was an example today of like just the supports did a lot of damage in a playtest we did today, but it was also the fact that we were scrapping hard in that game, and it turned into more of an arena assault almost with the amount of fighting that was going on, not objectives taken. So your supports are going to put out more damage in those situations. More, you know, you just can see those things happen.
On Friday, our playtests are all chat Friday, so normally we split up between voice channels on Discord and, you know, take it pretty seriously. I mean,
as serious as we can.
It's not as serious as like a ranked match because we're testing things first and foremost.
I've seen some ranked matches.
I don't know. Some of the way the devs talk at times when things don't go their way in those games, it feels that way.
Okay, well, but it's a little bit more casual on Friday, and so it did kind of devolve into a bit of an ARAM for parts of the day.
Today specifically, it did. Yes.
Yeah.
Thoughts on giving Cabrakan a gun? Does he really need a buff?
There's a question. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say. I was just throwing it back as Clumsy talks into her playtest. I don't think so at all. I like to think that I shepherd and shot call.
He's a pretty good shot caller, actually.
I used to be a coach.
Yeah.
Depends on Clumsy's view of your experience with the game. That's what I will say.
It is just okay. It is just like I am only ever toxic towards India.
Correct. Yeah, like I just like it's always my fault. If something goes wrong, it's like why would you here?
He never rotates the moonlight ritual until he does when no one should be rotating the moonlight.
But then Clumsy will do the same thing in the game later, and it's like, but this is understandable
Yeah,
because
it
it's
makes a
me.
lot
And I'm
more
like,
sense.
okay. But yeah.
Exactly. It's because I have high expectations for my best buddy Hindu.
I have a question here that
Wait till you're back.
I don't think that we necessarily have an answer for you right now, but I think this could be a fun thing to riff on for a minute or two. When is Medusa aspect? Please, I'm begging. I don't have a date for you on that. Sorry. I just, as somebody who kind of was leading a lot of the aspect stuff at the beginning and still has a lot to do with aspect system, like, had there been any discussions around Medusa aspect? Is there anything that like we think would be cool as a Medusa aspect?
This was a completely troll idea that isn't going to be a real thing. So if you want that, I can give that to you.
I love troll ideas.
Yeah, I had a troll idea of just like rearranging and letting Medusa play around with the statues and like making a garden out of it. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and there was nothing just but the theme. That being said, Medusa is one of those characters we have to be careful of, like her bleed and her like her scalings. And I know there's been a lot of discussion of what that could mean. She also just doesn't have one of the things with aspects, especially more recently, is like what can we play around with and what have characters not done so far. So we need to see what she offers that others don't, which is kind of the toughest part. Obviously, her having a stim on her 1 and her dash on the 3 are slightly less flexible. Hunters as a whole are like that, but I would say as usual, nothing quite for Medusa specifically. But if people have good ideas, that's the most important part. That doesn't mean we're not working on old gods and their aspects. We consistently are. We just need to. I think the more we go further with aspects, the more expectation is to make sure we don't do like old Hercules ones and old super ones that just don't have a lot going to them. So we have to be very careful of that too. The faster we pump out aspects, the less quality they'd be. Yeah. Which is why we have to be a little bit slower on it.
Can you incorporate bug reporting into match history section? I think it's something in the long term we would love to do.
Yeah. Match history is still a little bit temp, right? Because match history right now, you can go in and you can see
there's still stuff missing from that. Like
you can see the stats, but you can't see the items, right? So it's one of those things that like that still needs to be built out. There's a lot of,
and if we're still building that out, then trying to integrate report system or bug reporting rather in there would be something we'd look for in the future. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. Again, a lot of the questions that the community has, like it's not stuff that we don't care about. It's just we have to prioritize certain things. And I think that's the one thing about this show that I've done it now for a couple of months, where I'm like, literally, that's all we can really say. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, there's no other proof we can really give you.
But I think that like this show is useful because it helps us understand what the community cares the most about and what things we should be considering prioritizing, right? Yeah. So I think that sometimes things do rise to the top because of what we see on Titan Talk, what we see in the community, right? Mm-hmm. Like we have our own list of things that we think are the most important and we work on those, but there's other things that like the community's like, what the heck, you need to do something about this. And we're like, okay, cool. How do we get that done sooner than later? So it's 2 o'clock.
It is 2 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it is.
So I guess it's time for
one more question. Hindu always looks so excited when it's time for that.
I'm getting better over time, One day I'll be excited about it. Today is not that day. Who has tilted more in playtest out of the 3 of you?
Probably me.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like
none of us really tilt.
Yeah, I don't like
quiet.
Omega tilt.
You go quiet? Yeah. Is that how you tilt? That's still good though. It's like I'd rather people go quiet.
Unless it's against Arthur, then I'm just out. Because Arthur does 2 of the scummiest things that frustrate me.
He runs at you.
Relic agility, agility relic, and what's the other one?
The farting.
The fart doesn't bother me.
The farts are so funny.
Fart doesn't bother me.
I mean, I hate the farts, but the way Arthur uses it is just so
it's intentionally
He will
toxic.
like go really far into like your jungle, fart quip, and then run away.
That and the Hexstone, where he just bores away. Yeah. I'm like, great.
I love Sir
I hate him. He's a good player.
He's good. No, I would say like nobody really tilts super hard from the 3 of us, but occasionally if I'm like,
you'll have frustrating moments for sure.
I get frustrated at times.
I think we all do though, because like it's just like, I mean, let's be honest. When you play Smite, there is times you get frustrated with how the game's going. Some of it is in your control, some of it's not. But as a human being, let me tell you, you are going to try and find an excuse for why this happened that is not your fault.
I got tilted yesterday because there was an invisible wall.
You didn't show that though. Wall. Like afterwards, when you said that was an issue, we could tell that you were a little bit frustrated by it. But during the playtest, there it didn't.
Oh yeah.
Actually, wait, I wasn't on your team.
There was an invisible wall that I kept running into.
I was on your team.
And I was just like, losing my damn mind. I was like, I can't go between these 2 places. I need to go all the way around. And I was like trying to keep it together. But yeah, like sometimes like I think that's more like the thing that gets me annoyed is when there's like a bug that's impacting my ability to play the game.
There was a bug that messed me up as well that I got frustrated by.
I got a few questions. Yeah, sorry.
Clumsy, what are your designer thoughts on the 0-second team gold chalice? I thought it was fun. So I heard people talking about that. I actually don't know. Did we fix it?
We did fix it.
Are we talking about the ones by the Gold Fury pit?
No, the one in mid lane was spawning, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So
mid lane one.
Gold chalice versus, I guess, the pickups are 2 different things. I don't think the middle one was just a bug. Like I heard it happen.
Wait, are we talking about gold cups? Don't you leave the gold cups alone?
No, I don't like the gold cups personally.
Yeah, I don't care. play duo lane more, and then you can complain about
carry, this. Not support.
Then go get the cups and stop complaining. Why would you care about getting bonus gold?
Because the other people don't know about it. It is purely just a knowledge.
Then learn to play.
No.
The whole game is a knowledge point. Like every day you log in.
Many of those.
No, leave those chalice cups alone, okay? Supports need something, just a little crumb. Okay, when your lane's going bad, and your carry's feeding, and he's told you to leave the lane. And you're
I'm talking about the 0-second one. I'm talking about the ones before the game starts.
Yes. Yeah, that's still important. Yeah. That's a you get priority on that side of the map. Then it shows.
I'm excited about that.
It forces fights, right? Come on.
Last question I'm gonna pick today is who is your favorite god to play right now in Smite 2?
Oh man, mine's cheating, and there's bias towards it, but I still find Merlin aspect just so fucking funny.
Yeah,
it's just
it's
like
pretty
being
hilarious.
able to roll different abilities all the time and having to utilize that RNG is just so funny.
I'll be real, I've not really played much live, I'm sorry, chat, in a couple of weeks actually, because I've been doing dev stuff and other stuff behind this. I've just not had the time, but in the playtest right now, I'm not going to lie, I'm scumbag abusing ESET support when I can, but I have to test over God sometimes and play over roles. But then I'll always go to Geb as well if things are terrible. Geb's always a kind of a
I hit
safe
Radiant
space.
on Merlin, so I don't play him as much right now, so I have to find other things to play.
I'd play Sylvanas more, but it gets stolen by Arthur all the time, so I don't get to touch that one.
Oh, I am excited for Sylvanas aspect today, though. I had a lot of fun during playtest, and I really want to play
It's
that
intriguing.
some more.
I think there's a lot of community were like coming up with ideas of builds that could come out from that today, so I'm excited to see how it gets played. Yeah. However, just another support taken out of the support pool to be played in a carry role or something. But it is what it is.
Yep.
What about you?
I've just been really enjoying Pele recently.
Oh, cool.
Which was funny because I didn't really like her in Smite 1. I don't know, something.
Solo or jungle?
Both. Mostly jungle.
Okay.
But Aspect Solo, I think is.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
you
played
did
that
Aspect
today.
Solo was it today?
Today, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Which it was a hard lane, but I was
You
able
did
to at
one a
least
few
stay
days ago,
evenish.
I think that went really well.
I was jungle. A few
That
days
was
ago.
jungle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. That's why my brain's like
yeah,
freezing.
I played. I should play it less in playtest, but I've just been like having so much fun with it
cool.
recently that I've been really enjoying it. I think that like there's different things that you can do between the base and the aspect, and like I said, it's one of those guys that I was not really into in Smite 1, and then I've just been having a lot of fun with her on Smite 2.
That happens all the time.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. Really appreciate all the questions, answering the community ideas as well that come through.
Yep.
Please, over the weekend, if you see a bug in game, smite2.com/bugs, send us in the reports. We'll make sure they get action to the quickest time we can. Secondly, you see toxic people in your game, report them. They may get banned. And if they don't, you can complain and talk to me, but I'll review your account too. It's fine. Anyway, appreciate you all. Tune in on Monday. Titan Talk will be back with Kilgoon, hopefully going over some stuff for you all.
Yeah.
And we'll see
Little
you
bit of a
as
roadmap.
well next week. But if we don't see you beforehand, we'll see you on the battleground.
Peace out.
Goodbye.